All right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation. We will be talking about virtual machines today, and the virtual machine we will be using is going to be Oracle VirtualBox. And right now, I'm here with my group members from Group 8. I'll let them introduce themselves. You may proceed.
Hello, my name is Rulianto Hashifuda.
Hello, my name is Granadam Saputra.
And finally, you have me. Hello, Matthew Alexander. And today we'll be talking about again VirtualBox. And right now we're going to be talking about the background of the VirtualBox.
So, what is a VirtualBox? VirtualBox is uh, a hypervisor for 86 machine. It's a full virtualization for software for 86 and 64 hardware. It was originally created by Innotech GmbH, and they made it accessible to everyone in 2007. After that, it was bought by Sun Microsoft in 2008, Sun Microsystems in 2008, and since then it has been developed by Oracle in 2010. In general, a VirtualBox is a software virtualization program that may be run as an application on any operating system. It supports the installation of additional operating system known as GuestOS, and it can run operating system including Windows XP, Windows 7, Linux, Windows Vista, Mac OS, Ubuntu, and many more. And we'll go into the about product. Now, VirtualBox has quite a lot of features, some of which are virtual machine hosting, which essentially runs multiple other OS inside it, which we will call a guest OS, such as Linux on Windows or say Mac OS on Linux. There's also snapshot management, which saves the state of a virtual machine and refer to later. Guest editions, which is an installable tool in the VM to improve performance and usability. Shared clipboard, which essentially means that you can copy and paste from your original OS into your virtual machine OS. Shared folders, which are essentially the same, but with folders and files. There are also networking modes, which is used for complex network testing. Disk management, which create, clone, or resize virtual hard disks. It helps in managing storage needs or duplicating environments. ISO mounting, you can mount ISO files as virtual CD or DVD drives. It's used for installation or software testing. And finally, we have cross-platform VM portability, which moves VMs across Windows, Linux, and macOS hosts. It is incredibly useful for sharing or migrating projects. The next part, I will be transferring this presentation to Matthew uh, to explain the strengths and weaknesses of VirtualBox. Over to you.
Thank you, Ruli. So yes, now that we know a bit about the features of the VirtualBox, I will now explain a bit of the strengths and weaknesses of VirtualBox. So starting from the strength of VirtualBox, which means that VirtualBox is completely free to use, even for commercial purposes, and is open source. And then we have cross-platform compatibility. That means it runs on a variety of host operating systems, including Windows, Mac OS, Linux, and Solaris. And then we have user-friendly interface. So VirtualBox has a user-friendly interface that is the graphical interface is intuitive, making it easy for both beginners and advanced users to create, configure, and manage virtual machines. And then VirtualBox is resource efficient. because VirtualBox is lightweight and consumes relatively few system resources, allowing multiple virtual machines to run even on modest hardware. And then finally, we have feature rich. It offers advanced features like snapshots to save and revert VM states or virtual machine states. And then we have seamless mode, shared folders, and robust networking options for simulating complex environments. Now that we already know the strength of the VirtualBox, let's discuss over the weaknesses of VirtualBox. The first one is the performance limitations. Even though VirtualBox is efficient, VirtualBox may not match the performance of some commercial virtualization solutions like VMware, for example. VMware Workstation to be exact. And then, especially in scenarios require high I/O or input-output throughput or advanced 3D graphics. And then we have limited enterprise features, which means certain enterprise-grade features such as advanced management, clustering, or integration with cloud platforms are less developed or require additional licensing compared to commercial alternatives. And then we have lack of graphics and USB support. That means 3D acceleration and USB device pass-through can be less reliable or slower than in-paid alternatives, which may impact use cases like gaming or specialized device testing. And then we also have lack of official support for VirtualBox, because VirtualBox being open source, official support is limited to community forums and documentation, which may not meet the needs of enterprise environments requiring guaranteed support response times. In summary, VirtualBox excels in accessibility, flexibility, and cost effectiveness, making it ideal for personal, educational, and many professional uses. However, high-performance enterprise or specialized hardware scenarios, its limitations may become apparent compared to commercial virtualization platforms. And then we will continue on to the tutorial of how to use VirtualBox, and this will be Grant's part. I will present you Grant.
Okay, thank you, Matthew. Hey, I'm Grant, and today I'll be responsible to present you the tutorial. It will consist of setup and virtual machine creation, virtual machine settings, first boot and OS installation, post installation optimization, and pretty much last but not least is like what was like explained during the features, common features used in the VirtualBox itself. Okay, so hey guys, I'm Grant and I'll be doing the tutorial video where how do you operate on the virtual machine from zero. So first of all, what you want to do is like you make sure you check if your virtualization is on. So how do you do that? You want to go to the task manager, go to performance, and you want to see your CPU section, and you want to navigate your way down here and see if your virtualization is on. If it's not for you, you might want to do some extra steps before you want to install the virtual machine itself. You want to restart your laptop, and the moment it is on, as in like it has your brand laptop's name and it's booting, you want to hold a specific hotkey where at that part it will automatically open to your BIOS. I will give a video of someone explaining it.
To get to your BIOS, first off, restart your PC. As your computer's restarting, you'll need to press the hotkey that brings you into the BIOS, and that depends on the brand of the computer that you have. Typically, it's the escape key, or could be F2, or could be the delete key, so you'll need to look that up. I have a Dell computer, and it happens to be F2. This drops me into the BIOS, and up on top, I'll switch over into the Advanced tab, and here I see Virtualization. If it's disabled, you can change it to enabled. Once you're all done, escape.
After you're done activating the virtualization or enabling it, my bad, you want to go to your web browser. I'll just like type VirtualBox, open it, go to the down section, and pretty much choose like what OS do you want, and it will pretty much save it here. So I want to go to my VirtualBox, double click on it, and there will be some setups before you actually can install it. So I want to just say yes here. It will pop up. There you go, a Windows installer. And here the setups will consist of the agreement, or you can just scroll and just agree, and you want to keep it at the basic. Press next, and yes, pretty much it will disconnect you from your network connection while they are installing the VirtualBox. Press next, press install, and it will continue on. Alright, we're done and we're gonna continue on. Okay, so now we're at the panel where we're gonna make the virtual machine itself. First of all, you want to go to the new virtual machine. You can call it, like, for example, I'll just call it my virtual machine. And right here, virtual machine requires an ISO. You want to download the ISO itself. So like the most popular choice of the time right now is technically Ubuntu Linux. So we want to go there, Ubuntu Linux. And in the Ubuntu website, we want to go to here, download Ubuntu Desktop. And from here, you can download the latest version, but you want to check the system requirement if it's sufficient for you or not. So in here, it requires a 2G8Z dual processor, 4GB system memory, 25. Well, the size is actually big. That's hence why I already downloaded it myself. Okay, for my file, it's at here where you can find it over here. I'll remember the address. So let me try to navigate to there. So the moment I put the ISO, it will automatically read it as the type, and it's got a Linux Ubuntu, and pretty much you want to go next. And here you can make your username. I'll just make mine Grant, and the password is like simple. When you're done set it up, the username and password, you wanna go to guest edition and you wanna checklist this. Why? Because it gives better performance and it gives better usability according to like what I have watched. Okay, so the moment you're done checking list the guest edition, you want to go to the next, and here this is where you want to adjust the given base memory and the processors depending on your preference. So because my PC is kind of low end, I want to just like give it like roughly 2 gigs and like just 2 CPU to operate on. And pretty much I'll just like continue on because nothing is necessary here. And for the disk size, I'll just give roughly 25 based on the requirement of Ubuntu. Apparently they expect me to give 25, so I'll just do that. So we want to just like press next on this one and pretty much finish it, and there you go. So eventually it will stop powering it up, so it will take some time, and this is where I'll pause it again.
Down below, let's click on Finish. It's now powered up the virtual machine, and now it's running through and installing the operating system on this virtual machine. And now that the virtual machine has finished installing, we can now log in. I'll select this user and then type in the password. I'm now logged into my virtual machine, but you'll notice that the display is fairly small. Ideally, I would like to take full advantage of all of my screen real estate. Up in the top left-hand corner, let's click on the View menu. And right here, there's the option to auto-resize the guest display.
So this is a function used when you initially boot your virtual system. So the purpose is that it will adjust the size based on the screen ratio you have on your PC.
Let's go back up to the View menu, and here there's also an option to switch into full screen mode. I could click on this right here in the menu, but over to the right, there's also a shortcut key that says Host plus F.
As for the full screen mode, yes, you can apparently manually go by just clicking it, or you can use the key called Host plus F. Host by default is technically your right control button.
Together with F. Here, I get this dialog. Let's click on Switch. And this now launches me into full screen mode on my virtual machine. You might be wondering, well, what happened to the menu? What if I want to access some of those different options? If we go to the very bottom of the screen, here I can access all of those same options at the very bottom. To exit out of full screen mode, I can click on the view menu, and here I can select this option, or we could press the host key or right control key together with F, and that now exits full screen mode. This is now a fully functional computer. Over on the left-hand side, I have all of my different applications. Here I have a web browser, Firefox. I also have LibreOffice Writer, and over here I can install additional software to my virtual machine. Let's now go to the top menus to see some of the more interesting functionality that you have access to. Let's first click into the machine menu, and right here there's the option to take a snapshot.
So a snapshot works similarly to how the save and load feature works in a game, whereas snapshot will save up your virtual machine screen, and when you build it back up, it will load that snapshot itself. That's how it works. There are also features like pause and resume or reset, where you can actually pause it as if it's like a game and reset to reset everything back to normal.
You also have something called session information.
So a session information serves the same purpose as a task manager in Windows OS that we use.
Let's now shut down this virtual machine. In the top left-hand corner, let's go to the machine menu. And down at the very bottom, let's select shut down.
Works similarly to like a PC. It shut down the whole virtual machine itself and will return you back to the virtual machine panel where you make a virtual machine, pretty much.
That rounds out everything about how do you install it and what does it look like, and pretty much, yeah. Thank you for watching, and now moving back to the presentation where we all will give our gratitude. Moving on. That's everything I can explain regarding the VirtualBox. Thank you for everyone who's watching our presentation, and particularly our tutorial video how to operate on virtual machine, specifically VirtualBox. God bless and see ya. Peace.